Hello, Pat.
Hey, Pearl. How are you this evening?
Well, I am recovering from this nasty, nasty summer cold, but I am here and very happy. Guess what? Why?
And I am happy too, because we're going to be talking about happiness.
There you go.
Happiness. So, for those who are on this call and those who are listening in, how happy are you?
Mhm.
And what does the word happiness mean to you? You know, Pearl and I, when we were talking about this particular show and happiness, we through all our study and our personal knowledge, we discovered that everybody has their own personal definition of what happiness means, right, Pearl?
Yeah, isn't that so true?
Yes. And tonight we will discover scientifically proven ways to be mining your mindset for happiness and establishing easy, healthy habits and rituals, mastering your energy, and that's physically and emotionally,
Mhm.
and creating supportive communities. And Pearl and I have really come to cherish that. And finally, stick around for a bonus gift. I'm Pat Alva-Kraker, president of Majestic Coaching Group. I work with women entrepreneurs who want to scale their businesses with ease and grace. I'm also an author and a speaker. And you can go to majesticcoachinggroup.com to learn more about me. And now for my favorite co-host.
And I'm Pearl Peng. I'm an executive advisor, strategist, and speaker. And my work can be found on www.benchmarkmaven.com. And welcome once again to Town Square Talk. Pat, shall we start with a round of gratitude?
A ground of gratitude. So, you know what? I'm grateful for the rain. We've had a mild winter in the Fort Worth area, but it's honestly for the last almost 2 months it's been dry, and for the last 2 days, 24 48 hours, we just enjoyed a summer rain, nice gentle summer rain, and I just opened my windows up and just listened to the thunder and the summer rain, and that just made me happy. How about you?
Well, Pat, I am grateful that I'm surviving this nasty summer cold. Glad it's not COVID, right? It's so scary these days. So I love that. Seriously. I'm grateful for my health. I'm still strong enough and fighting this through and really feeling great still, with this bad stuff going on. So I'm really, really grateful for that.
That's awesome, for sure. And I'm grateful that you feel well enough that we can have this show and provide a lot of value to all our listeners. So we invite you to take a moment and think about what you're grateful for, and join us in that positive energy. Pearl, some say that true happiness is not a state. It's the way that we relate to our lives. Every situation that happens in our lives is neutral
Mm-hmm.
until we give it meaning. For example, and I'll share my story, is that in 2002 I got laid off. And initially when it happened, it was like the worst thing that could have ever happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
And how I took that so personally, and what I had imagined my career to evolve to, and how I plan to retire, just went away just like that.
Mm.
I was pretty bummed out about it initially.
Mm.
And then over time, I began to look at the situation differently. And the way that I reframed it is that this was the best possible thing that could have happened, because it really gave me opportunities that I would have never thought of. It opened up doors. And so it really proved to me the lesson that whatever happens to you is neutral until you give it meaning. And even then, we still have the option when we give it meaning that we can reframe it to something positive. And
Yeah, you decide.
then you decide it. And then I made a different decision, right? And then I make a different decision. So yeah, that was a big lesson. And how really I went from one extreme to the other and gave
Mm-hmm.
it totally different meanings.
Yeah, that just goes to say that happiness can affect you not only as a feeling, that is also expressed and experienced in the heart and soul, but also as an emotion that can be stored in our memory. Right? It can be manifested and stored in all over our body, just like any other emotions that we're so very capable of.
Yeah, it's true. You know, and it's only a decision. It's the way we live.
Mm-hmm.
I like to refer it to as living with intention, right? We get to imagine every day we wake up in the morning, we get to imagine the outcome of our day, the outcome of our meetings, our interactions with people, our interactions with family and our spouses. We get to actually imagine and intend that. And we give the energy, the thoughts, the feelings to every event, situation, conversation that happens in our day. And I have been living through the power of intention for many, many years. And one that I share with a lot of my clients. And I'd like to take a moment and actually share that formula with you. It's 3 steps. So the first step is to really write out the outcome of your day, to begin with, my intention is. So I set an intention every time Pearl and I get on the show. And so my intention is for Pearl and I to be of value to all our listeners, and to be able to be just ourselves during our show and have fun and know that whatever happens, it's just part of the process. So I'm very specific about how I want to come across in the show. And then step 2 is I describe how I want to feel. So if I use this as an example, then when I say the intention is for Pearl and I to have an amazing and valuable show, I want to feel happy. I want to feel energized. I want to feel connected to Pearl and the audience. And then the third step is, how do I want others to feel? So those that are listening, you are the others. So I want you to feel engaged. I want you to feel that you got value out of the conversation that Pearl and I are about to have.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple. It's that simple. I talk about this process in my book called Catherine's Quest, One Woman's Journey to Elation. And I go to it in detail because when you live your life through intention, you get to decide. And it just changes your life when you start living with intention.
Spot on, Pat. And since I've known you, you've lived your life through intention, and I've seen the magic happen in your life, and you have now how you're so happy these days. And I love what you've done in your book. So, audience, check it out. It may be just what you need to move forward.
Exactly. When Pearl and I were talking about our show, one of the things that really came up as one of the top contributors to happiness is really having a circle of supportive friends and family, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's so important.
Actually, Pearl taught me about this. And these were areas that we call blue zones. That term was initially introduced in November of 2005. And it came out as a cover story on National Geographic magazine. And they were talking about these specific areas that not only had a longer lifespan than most of us,
Mm-hmm.
but Pearl and I said happiness has to be underneath all that long living
Yes.
atmosphere. And I just want to share a couple of the places. They talked about the area of Okinawa, Japan.
Mm-hmm.
They talked about Sardinia, which is in Italy,
Mm-hmm.
Costa Rica, Nagoya,
Mm-hmm.
Agadia, Greece,
Mm-hmm.
and among the Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda, California, all known for having a higher than usual number of people that live longer than the average.
Isn't that fascinating?
It is very fascinating.
And
Absolutely.
it goes to prove that people who are happy can live longer too, right?
Yes.
And there are more centenarians, people who are over 100 years old in the blue zones.
So far, we've learned that happiness is a decision, it's an intention, and involves creating a community of people who love and care about you. Now let's dive into more tips and techniques that can help us master our mindset. For example, being in a state of gratitude, which Pat and I just did early in the show, contributes to a positive mindset. So what does that mean? It means that you take the time to acknowledge what you're grateful for in the moment. And when you do that, you can feel it all over in your body. You get a warm feeling in your gut, you feel tingly on the skin, and you smile from the inside out. So it's not just about saying it, right? It's really about engaging the emotions and have it expressed in your physiology.
Absolutely.
And you're happy and you feel loved and cared for. So Pat and I are both encourage our clients to write down 3 things they are grateful for every morning.
And it can be the simple things, right?
Absolutely.
So, Pearl, would you agree that reflection is an important part, really a part of your life and also a tool that can lead to happiness?
Absolutely, Pat. Reflection is one of the best capabilities of being human. Reflection helps us uncover what truly went on in our lives. It also gives us a chance to reframe and redirect our energy. It's one of the tools that I teach my executive clients to improve their personal and their team's performance and results. And Pat, if I recall correctly, you also include it in your teaching. So tell us more.
Yes, I do. The tool that I use not only on myself and with my clients is called Unraveling. And just as the word says, you're unraveling. And I do this exercise at the end of each day, and I instruct and recommend that my clients do it at the end of each day. And basically what it is actually playing back your day, just like if it was a movie. And you can do it one of 2 ways. You can unravel from the beginning of the day until you get to right before the exercise of unraveling. Or you can unravel from the end of your day down to the morning and how you started your day. And like I said, it's just like playing back a movie in your mind and watching all the activities that happen throughout your day chronologically. All the interactions you had, the conversations, the events, how you worked, your energy level. You will learn so much by unraveling your day every day. You learn how compassionate you were with people, whether you were patient, whether you were loving, whether you were on autopilot or you actually were living through intention. It tells you a lot about yourself. And what I have learned is that unraveling is a reflection tool, but it's also a personal development tool. Because in the process, you will learn what worked in your day. So it's not only about unraveling, but asking yourself, why is it that this conversation worked really well with Pearl? What didn't go quite right when I was talking to Mitch? If I go back and just analyze that day, that moment, what could I have done better? And then taking that experience and applying it to the next day. So this particular exercise is also part of my book, Catherine's Quest, One Woman's Journey to Elation. And you will grow that you will become a happier person. It will lead you to elation. So I invite you to get the book, go to my website, majesticcoachinggroup.com, and you can get the book and learn some more juicy secrets about happiness. I learned how powerful and nurturing implementing a morning routine a self-care routine. You know, some of the most successful CEOs like Oprah Winfrey, Warren Buffett, they all have a self-care and morning routine. It gets them started in the morning. It gets me started in the morning, energized, feeling good about myself, feeling empowered and with a level of focus that helps me get a lot done throughout the day. So for these morning routines that people that we admire and that now have incorporated include mind, body, and soul practices. So I would suggest that you take a look at creating a morning routine that has something from each of those three areas, from the mind, from the body, and from the soul. And just to give you an example, my morning routine includes moments of silence, in sitting and just meditating and going within. It's about nurturing my mind through visualization and affirmations. It's about journaling and looking back and what am I grateful for? It's about looking at what are the three most important things that I need to do to align and move my goals forward. And it's about movement and exercising and reading. So those are some examples of some things that you can include in your self-care process and your morning routine. And start your day feeling good from the inside out. Pearl and I are believers of the morning routine, the self-care routine, and how important it is to just your health and well-being. We dedicated an episode just for self-care, and it's called How to Do Self-Care Easily. And it's a great resource if you want to investigate more self-care practices. You know, Pearl and I have a channel called Town Square Talk on YouTube. And so we invite you to go watch the show, and we will reference other episodes that will give you further detail on some of the proven techniques that we'll cover with you today. So one of the things that's important in living your day is actually even planning your week. Giving structure to your day contributes to your happiness. And the reason that I say that is because when you give structure to your day and then you started with an empowered morning routine, you're going to sense accomplishment. You can look at your day and say, you know what, I got these three things done. And I did it with intention. And you get to celebrate that part of your day. We're not asking that you plan every single hour, but we're asking that you know what you're going to do in your day and structure some time and block out some time to do those things, because experiencing a sense of accomplishment makes people happy. You probably heard this tip that I'm about to share with you, and that is to unplug. Unplug is to take a break from all the electronics. Set your phone on do not disturb. Set a time where you just aren't listening to anything through your earbuds and just allow nature sounds to come in. It's about letting your mind wander and read and meditate and do something else. And really unplug also from the news and social media. And just pay attention to your surroundings and connect with the people around you. Or maybe it's just being alone. So, Pearl, do you unplug?
Absolutely. Unplug is so very important these days, especially the EMF, the electronic magnetic field that's creating, right? So unplugging is totally something that I do at least once a day, an hour, no, nothing, just be. Let's turn our attention to some of the undesirable emotions or thoughts or negative thoughts. Since we're human beings and we're so capable of a full spectrum of various emotions, aren't we? Now, firstly, I want to call out the toxic possibility, which you probably have heard. And it means that the inclination to focus heavily on optimism in all situations and all aspects of life. In other words, just be happy, okay? And don't address those external environment, your reactions or your feelings or emotional experience. And that can become toxic because those emotions get bottled up or ignored.
Mm-hmm.
So, audience, how aware are you of your negative or self-loathing talk? Do you catch yourself saying something like, "Oh, this is so stupid. I'm such a moron," to yourself when you somehow made a mistake? So be kind to yourself, be aware, right? Be mindful. Set aside time for your daily affirmation. Something like, "I am good enough. I love myself. It's okay to make mistakes." Add those to your daily routine, as Pat called out earlier. It can help you turn around the bad habit of being negative thoughts, of having those negative thoughts toward yourself. Now, similarly, this applies to how you treat others, especially your loved ones.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
And
sometimes we're not aware, right, Pearl? That we
yeah,
just, instead of just channeling our energy and our anger or
absolutely.
frustration somewhere else, maybe it's through movement or exercise or going out and screaming or pounding a pillow, we use family.
And mistakes do happen, right? So by giving encouraging feedback instead of passing judgment or pointing fingers, yields better results as people feel safe and supported. Incidentally, in the last episode 16, episode 16 of season 1, how to guarantee a better life in 2021, Pat and I talked about the CRAP board exercise, right? CRAP, C-R-A-P, stands for conflicts, resistance, anxiety, and procrastination. So be sure to check out that episode. In short, harboring negative thoughts lower your vibration and frequencies. So we'll talk about more about our energy level later.
Yes, for sure. And I love the affirmation, I am good enough, because especially with women, we tend to believe that we're not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And um, isn't it, and the thing is that we are good enough. And just believing that is really critical in your day, and starting your day with, I am good enough. Definitely important. Thank you for sharing that. And it's important to be vulnerable. So in our days, instead of trying to be, the strong one, and, everything bounces off of you and you don't feel anything within, or even expose and make yourself vulnerable. You know what? Vulnerability can actually be a superpower. Pearl and I really believe that can really work to your advantage. And we actually had a session on the vulnerability advantage. And we had that on season 1, episode 2. And we had a subject matter expert, Wendy Lee, come and talk about the vulnerability advantage. And it's really eye-opening, and it can be very transformational. So if you want to know more about how you can use your vulnerability as an advantage, we invite you to go look at our YouTube channel and learn a little bit more.
And next up, stop comparing. If you're struggling with comparisons, the best way to help is to get clear about your own values and priorities. Don't assume you know the answer. Instead, get a pen and paper and write it all down. More importantly, know your triggers. For example, 2 years ago, I've decided to stop coloring my hair and go gray because I'm just sick and tired of sitting in the salon for hours and hours, and every 2 weeks, my gray grow out really fast, right? So then, in the first 3 months when I started to do that, I feel just kind of harder to accept myself, look myself in the mirror without, feeling like I'm just looking older, right? And so I had to teach myself to appreciate my new image, right? I tell myself, I feel wise and authentic showing up in my gray. And look, how much time and money have I saved going gray?
And you wear your gray very well. It's
Oh,
very beautiful and becoming. If you only knew how long Pearl's hair was, you can just imagine what it's going to look like when it's all silver. Oh my God. I can't wait to see it.
Well, thank you, Pat. And that's what I focus on these days. Again, it is helpful because it creates perspective and clarity. When you decide what matters, you are effectively deciding what doesn't matter as well. So pay attention to your feelings, and if you feel triggered, make time for adjustments. And another mindset tool is really about opening to possibilities. Be flexible. When you run into any obstacle or feel stuck in life, take a pause. Consider your desired outcome, what it is that you will want to have. Then be specific with what you like to achieve. Or once the goals have become clear, take inventory, starting to write down the ways to solve it, right? What are the solutions? And do some research. If you need to upskill yourself, take a course, consult or hire experts if needed. Invite your trusted mentor for advice, for example. Now, watch out for your ego, though. Remember, you can be your own worst enemy. And of course, stress management is so important for having a healthy mindset.
Especially now, Pro, with everything that COVID has, the virus has brought our way, so many unknowns,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because a lot of unknowns cause a lot of stress.
Absolutely. Yeah, your response to the demands of the world, like Pat just mentioned now these days, determines your stress level. Understanding the types and sources of stress, short term and long term, internal and external response, is an important part of stress management. The stress source are events or conditions in your surroundings that may trigger stress. Your body responds to a stress source differently depending on whether the stress is new or short term, which is known as acute stress, or whether the stressor has been around for a long time, which is chronic stress, right? So effective stress management starts with identifying your source of stress and developing strategies to manage them. One way to do this is to make a list of the situations, concerns, or challenges that trigger your stress response. Take a moment to write down some of the top issues you're facing right now. Mm-hmm. Recognize what your stress is driven by a person or event or situation.
Love that. I love the recognition of, is it a person, an environment, or an unpredictable event? Because we clump everything in one category. Mm-hmm. And I love the way that you are inviting us to really see where the trigger is, because unless you know where the trigger is, you're not going to be able to really respond. Just be for sure. You can't react the same way to every situation.
Yeah, you might have heard of the RAIN model. The RAIN, R-A-I-N. R stands for recognize. You start with recognition. And A, you work with the acceptance. Because without acceptance, you continue to be in denial. And then you start with, starting to identify any insights, and you develop the non-attachment. So there are various techniques out there. Find a therapist. Take some time to do research and conduct a few interviews, and find a qualified therapist that resonate with your values to work with.
One of the things that I've learned about sometimes stress is not accepting what is, right? Is that you wish something else was different. Like you wish that the deadline wasn't tomorrow. Causes a lot of stress in life.
Absolutely. Stress is a huge topic, and it impacts so many people these days. So, clearly we don't have time to cover it, but I do want to highly recommend our audience to watch this episode, The Magic of Hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy is really another great way to look into to manage your stress. And it is in our season 1, episode 3. Next up is on forgiveness. Guess what? This can be a hard lesson to learn. When somebody wrongs you somehow, you might feel certain that you'll never be able to get over it, right? Even after your immediate anger passes, you may continue to dwell on the betrayal instead of letting it fade into memory. And it's pretty common to feel this way, but not being able to forgive can really harm you the most. Forgiveness might seem challenging, in part because it's often misunderstood. You might believe forgiving someone means, well, forgiving means forgetting what happened, or implying the pain they caused was no big deal, or automatically resuming your previous relationship. No, it's not about that. In reality, forgiveness really simply means choosing to let go of your anger, hurt, and desire for vengeance. When you forgive, you're not saying what someone did was okay. You're deciding to let go of the burden of stuck and unresolved emotion. The benefits of forgiveness: number one, helps you heal. Number two, helps with other relationships because you can take it out on somebody else without knowing when you don't resolve that, right? So once you have that forgiveness done, processed, then your loved one, people around you especially, will feel that. And number three, it has the health benefits of reducing stress, of course, right?
Mhm.
According to the research into 2016.
Yeah, forgiveness is definitely very healing. And a lot of the time, we just need to forgive ourselves. We all make mistakes and we all learn from them. And so just being
I'm so
really,
glad you mentioned that, Pat.
mhm.
Forgiving yourself is the most important part that many of us, especially the high achievers, we're so very self-critical sometimes. That ties into the negative thoughts and emotions that we talked about earlier. So
It's true.
yeah.
And when we don't forgive, not only is there an emotional uh, element to it, but there's also a physical element to, carrying that level of forgiveness or that pain within the body. So talking about body, let's talk about what keeps our body happy. And we have a number of proven ways to really help you become a happier person by really paying attention to the body.
Yeah, Pat, I would start with smile. And of course, laughter. Laughter is a positive sensation and seems to be a useful and healthy way to overcome stress and anxiety. Now, smile is so contagious. When you see someone smiling, it's really hard not to smile back. And if you start to smile, things really become lighter. It just doesn't seem as serious. Laughter decreases a lot of the cortisol, epinephrine, the growth hormone, and all this other good stuff. Part of your daily routines, and find something happy, happy thoughts, right? End with that, and boom, you got your day set. And the next step is practice breathing. No matter what you eat, how much you exercise, how skinny or young or wise you are, none of it matters if you're not breathing properly.
So true.
There is nothing more essential to our health and well-being than breathing. Take the air in, let it out, repeat 25,000 times a day. Imagine that. And yet, as a species, humans have lost the ability to breathe correctly with grave consequences. So the optimum breathing rate, according to the expert, is about 5.5 breaths per minute, which means 5.5 second inhale and 5.5 second exhale. So breathing exercises, of course, don't have to take a lot of time out of your life. It's really just about setting aside time to pay attention to your breathing. Begin with just 5 minutes a day to increase your time as the exercise becomes easier and more comfortable. If 5 minutes is too long, start with 2 minutes a day. Because it is so essential, it's really so important to pay attention to, take action. If there's one thing that you take from today's talk, besides smile and laugh, it's breathe. It's to breathe properly, to breathe correctly.
Absolutely. And you talked about yoga, and we actually go into depth in not only about yoga, but also about breathing in one of our episodes.
Yes, it was our premiere episode, our season 1 premiere episode, where we introduced the 3 ways of deep and relaxing breathing exercises. So,
Absolutely.
highly recommend viewers to go check them out.
And if there's anyone that knows about breathing techniques, it's yoga teachers. And by the way, Pearl's a yoga teacher. So I
Yes.
invite you, Pearl, you've got a lot of breathing techniques in your bag, is to take us through an exercise.
All right, well, I like to introduce this pranayama called Kapalabhati. Pranayama means yoga breathing technique. It's also known as skull shining breath, where the exhalation is active and forceful, while inhalation is passive, which is the opposite of normal breathing. Kapalabhati generates heat in your body, dissolving toxins and other waste matter. Hence, it's also known as breath of fire. So, Kapalabhati Pranayama has numerous benefits. It sharpens your mind and enhances your blood circulation and digestion, improves the function of the kidneys and livers, increase your metabolic rate, hence aid in weight loss, rejuvenates your brain, and energizes your nerves. Just to name a few, those are the benefits. And the process calms you and uplifts your mind. So here's step-by-step instructions before I lead you through one round. Sit in a comfortable position, body gently lengthen. Place your hands on your knees, palms facing the sky. You may choose to sit cross-legged on the floor or on a chair with feet flat on the floor. Number 2, take a deep breath in. And 3, as you exhale, contract your lower belly, forcing the breath out in a short burst. It's like you're trying to blow out a candle. So here's the tip. You may keep a hand on your stomach to feel your abdominal muscles contract. Then you relax your abdomen, allow the breath to flow into your lungs automatically. Take 20 breaths to complete one round. And after one round, relax with your eyes closed, observe the sensations in your body. Do at least 2 more rounds, so 3 rounds in a session to complete one practice. All right, shall we begin?
Yes.
So take a deep inhalation in. Inhale at the end. Close your eyes, observe the bodily sensation. So that's one round. There you have it. Kapalabhati Pranayama. You can set aside time for about 3 minutes. Start with one session and see what happens. Exercise, of course, and sleep. Those are the 2 other things. Clearly, again, are 2 huge topics that we will not be able to cover today, but they are so very crucial to having a healthy mindset, which contributes to being happy.
Absolutely. And we invite our listeners to connect with season 1, episode 14, where Pearl talks about the power and misconceptions of yoga.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Pat, for mentioning that. If you're interested in yoga, with exercise, there's so many different exercises to choose from. Yoga clearly is one of the great exercise forms that I highly recommend anybody to check out, whether you're a beginner or you have more information. Yes, sleep, of course. It's another one. We should do a sleep session.
Yeah, we
Do a
should.
show on sleep one of these days.
Yeah.
There are so many different ways to get really high quality of sleep.
Absolutely. So definitely, I mean, staying healthy is so important. We want our bodies to support everything we want to do in life. And one of those steps outside of, staying healthy and moving and breathing is how are you going to keep your immune system healthy? With COVID-19, and now we have a variant called Delta, and it's just so important to build your immune system. And we recommend a few products. We recommend olive leaf, probiotics, zinc to add to your regimen. And we invite you to go see our session on 3 secrets to improve your immunity now. Again, it's season 1, episode 2, and we have a lot of juicy suggestions on keeping your immune system strong, especially now with what's going on. And eating is important, but also eating with mood in mind is important, because the food choices that we make impact your overall physical activity, and they affect your physical health and state of mind. Carbs release serotonin, and it's a feel-good hormone. And you have to be conscious of what carbs you eat, right? So simple carbs that are high in sugar and starch, keep those to a minimum, because they'll give you a surge, but then you'll crash. Pearl and I love complex carbs, such as vegetables, beans, and grains are better, right? They give you the boost in energy, and they're high in protein, and they release dopamine. And of course, no fried foods. Those are really bad. They really drain your energy. So you have to be very conscious about that.
Yeah, and I also wanted to remind our audience to eat rainbow colors, right? So that is so important, mostly vegetables as well. And we had so much fun doing food show, and we should have another one upcoming.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, for sure, eating right. And one of the things that that's become important, especially as we have gotten wiser, is how important experiences are versus having things. We get programmed by TV and social media, the importance of having things. And really, at the end of the day, it's about experiences with family and friends. It's about being curious and wanting to try something new, because it's those memories that will stay with you forever. And you can't replace experiences. They're just, on the top of my list for sure. Not only because I'm a curious person, but I've learned that it's better. And for me, let's build up the experiences versus the things. And take some time off, a wellness day, take a vacation. Now it's been really popular to go staycations, which you stay around the house and you have fun. And a lot of people install pools and you play games. With COVID, it just really opened up people's possibility when it comes to staycay. So we all need a balance, even if it's just one day that you just spend just watching movies or whatever that is. It just totally relax and unwind and give yourself permission to do that. So, seek that balance.
So now let's talk about mastering our energy, Pat. Where would you like to start?
So for sure, in mastering your energy, there's 2 aspects of it. It's the mastering of the physical energy and also the emotional energy. And I'd love to start with the emotional energy, because that really starts with having a sense of self-awareness of when your energy dips and what actually brings your energy up, so that you're able to make better choices. Some of the things that we may or may not be aware of is that people can actually drain our energy. And you may be around people that drain your energy. It could even be your boss, or it could be family, right? And we're not saying, cut the relationship off. What we're saying is just be aware, and where you can minimize the time with people that are draining your energy is to make those decisions to, take enough breaks during your day, minimize your time with people who drain your energy. Pearl and I are advocates of lifting people up. And the way that we do that is by giving compliments and really being sincere with our compliments, and lift people up along the way. So devote your time to lifting people up versus down, and spend time with family and friends. So now let's talk about connecting with nature. So Pearl, what ideas do you have in that area?
Well, I would start with getting into nature. And research shows that being outside boosts overall health, is necessary for brain development. It decreases Anxiety and depression increases cognitive function, creativity, happiness, energy levels, self-awareness, and self-esteem. Being in nature improves mood, sleep, and can lower blood pressure levels, increases the ability to focus, even in children with ADHD, reduces stress and aggression, just a few. Right, and I like to say, don't forget to take your vitamin N, right? Nature.
Yeah.
So get your sneakers or hiking boots on and get outdoors. There are plenty of things to do in nature. The next up is exploring meditation and mindfulness-based activities. So that engages your emotional energy as well. It just helps calm your mind. Meditation is science-backed way to lower cortisol. Not only can meditation help you feel more relaxed, but it impacts your blood biomarkers as well. You might have heard myths about an everyday stress reducer meditation. The claim is this: to properly meditate, one must shut off their brain from outside thoughts. However, the truth really is when thoughts come to mind during meditation, note them mentally. Then turn your attention back to your breath and the scanning of your body. Set aside time to meditate. Start with 3 minutes a day, then increase to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and eventually perhaps an hour a day. So meditation is a practice of mind. It's part of the daily routine and ritual, and so is paths. So it's so very important to build meditation in your everyday, and it contributes to becoming happier. The next up is start a hobby. Hobbies are essential to having well-rounded life. Saving some time for yourself to enjoy a hobby can provide the physical and mental, emotional, and creative benefits that make life more meaningful, relaxing, and fun. Some hobbies can provide a way to save or make money. Isn't that better, right? So for example, to save money, you can refurbish items you find at a garage sale or grow your own vegetables. Turn those good hobbies, try to figure out what you really enjoy the most. So regardless which hobby you choose, the benefits of engaging in that hobby will likely surprise you. Lastly, but not least, give back. Give back, volunteer. The benefits of volunteering can last a lifetime, not only for those who you're helping, but for you as well. If you're on the fence about diving into a new volunteer experience or have doubts about whether volunteering is right for you, you might find yourself surprised at just how much you can gain from taking the plunge. Put simply, volunteering is a service to your community. You benefit by meeting new people, learn new ways of life, broaden your perspective, gain a sense of purpose, and become happier. Consider your time, physical limitations, skill sets, and interests, of course, when volunteering. Volunteering may even take you abroad. How about that if you're interested in gaining experience living abroad? So start looking if that's what you're interested in.
Wow, Pro, we have given so many tips and techniques, and we're like 4 minutes till the top of the hour. Holy mackerel. We have given so much. We just want you to just take, one or two pieces of the, one or two suggestions that we have offered today in regards to happiness from a mind, body, and soul perspective. And as we come to an end, we just want to share some statistics about happiness that we think that you might find interesting. And this is about the countries that are the happiest. Countries that are the happiest. I was surprised to learn about these, and Pearl and I spent a lot of time talking about this. Is the countries that are the happiest are the Nordic countries. Wow, like Finland, Denmark, Switzerland, Iceland, Norway, Netherlands, Sweden, New Zealand. The US came in number 18.
Yeah.
18 in the level of happiness.
Something to think about, huh?
Yeah, something to think about. And really at the micro level, it shows that when we spend 6 to 7 hours with other people in the countries that are very family oriented, very community oriented, that spend that much time, tend to be the happiest.
Yeah, and they say that you're the happiest at age 33, 55, and the 70s.
How
At
they
least
figure
on the
out,
average.
I don't
right?
know, what they need to add 64.
And because 33, right, you have the energy to and knowledge to pursue your passion. 55 because you're gaining enough assets and authority, well, maybe 64, right? Because you gain enough assets and authority. And 70 because you're free of many stress causing responsibilities. And you can look back to your life's accomplishments.
Yes, perspective. Wow.
Nonetheless, whatever the happiness statistics say, it could possibly help you develop policies and understand our individual perception and preferences. They also say that happiness, unlike carpentry work, cannot be disassembled by its parts.
Yeah.
Happiness is more of an artwork, inspired by deep-seated emotions, subject to our own interpretation that no science can put in a box. Isn't it so true?
It is very true. Very true. So shall we share how people can get a hold of us?
Absolutely.
So, this is my information. I talked a lot about Catherine's Quest, One Woman's Journey to Elation, which is an Amazon #1 bestseller. So there's a lot of techniques and tips on how to become happy and really beyond happiness. It's a fable surrounded by Pat's musings with a lot of tips and techniques and points of reflection for women. And you can go purchase that at majesticcoachinggroup.com. And if you'd like a complimentary session or on happiness, I have a link right below, a bit.ly link /happy rituals where you can spend some time. And I know you're going to want to know how to get a hold of Pearl. So Pearl, how do we get a hold of you?
To get a hold of me, the best way is to email me at pearl@benchmarkmaven.com. And you can also check out my website, benchmarkmaven.com. And I'm offering a complimentary 30-minute happiness strategy call with those of you who may be interested in diving in to learn more about different ways that may be more suitable to you.
Yeah.
So you can go to this bit.ly link, see Pearl, to schedule this 30-minute complimentary call.
We are committed to our audience's happiness.
Absolutely. We're here to help.
Yes, we are here to help. And we want to close this session out with a quote. And before I do that, we want to share with you our next show, which is September 29th. And the title of that show is The Advantages and the Power of Diversity, right? We have a subject matter expert, 2 subject matter, double your pleasure.
There you go.
Coming in to talk about inclusion and diversity.
So we can't wait.
What's the quote of the day?
The quote for the day: when you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. And this is by Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius.
Wow, that's a powerful quote. And with that, thank you so much for being part of our show. Join us for our next show, and we invite you to go to our YouTube channel and take advantage of all the other juicy sessions that are out there. And with that,
thank you for being with us.
Thank you for being with us.